Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, what's up? Hello, Stephen. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How you doing?
We're doing just fine. Trucking along on the next day.
In the
You know?
typical Italian fashion. How you doing?
Because you're old school Italian.
Yeah, I'm old school.
Yeah. Well, you've been around here for a while already, right?
I've been around for a long time.
Yeah, true that.
And I have a lot of energy still. I have more
That's
energy
good.
than young people.
Oh, well, don't make that comparison. They're gonna come get you, those young people.
Well, they already pat me on the head and tell me I'm a geriatric. But that's okay. I'm not going to worry about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You know, people can say whatever they want. That's you know, words are only words most of the time. So, how you doing overall? I know you're obviously same thing. I know Mike was on here before. Now you're on here as well with us. You're on the ballot for Will County District 4. So am I. I tried to bring. I wanted to give everybody an opportunity to talk if they wanted to. And I figured we'd give you a chance as well to come in and talk about yourself a little bit, give us a little bit of history on what you've been doing and how long you've been here and what positions you've held and what the board is doing nowadays. And yeah, I got a couple questions for you as well. So give us a little bit of a backstory. How long you been in Homer?
I've been in Homer since 1996.
Okay, so you've been here for what, 30 years now?
As long as we've been
Yeah,
in
it's
America.
a long time.
Yeah, we came in America in 96. yeah, lived by Midway. So you've been here for 30 years, and then you obviously have already been, you're on the board currently now,
Yes.
right? Along with Jim Richmond, who's
Yes.
also on the ballot. Just for everybody so they understand, two people out of the ballot, whoever the top two people are getting votes, move on to the general election,
yeah,
right?
general.
Right.
Versus the Democrats, right? Okay, so right now we're obviously talking about the Republican
Primary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before we move forward, let's do a real quick subscribe. Every time it gets me.
For more news, interesting people, right? We have new people on all the time. Sometimes in English, sometimes in Polish, you know. But we could do a different language. We just might not understand anybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Polish is similar to Italian. We got the same feast.
Yeah.
St. Joseph's Day.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
We're just talking about that. But like, comment, subscribe on our Facebook page, on our YouTube page. Our YouTube page, the subscriptions make a pretty big difference for us. So if you can go on there and subscribe, we definitely appreciate that. But Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, we're on all the social medias.
Yes.
So, and if you're interested in talking to us or coming on a podcast, let us know.
Reach out.
More than willing to bring anybody who wants to talk about certain things. I mean, whatever you want.
Feel free to comment too.
Yeah. So we were talking about St. Joseph's Day. You were talking that what is it, March 19th?
March 19th.
I celebrate St. Joseph's Day, which is my middle
And
name.
if you're a Joseph,
Yeah.
you're a special person that day.
See, and Polish people is it in June? End of June is a name day for Peter and Paul.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's a Peter and Paul, in I think it's in June. Pietra Pawła.
Yeah, I mean, I know St. Martin, there's two.
Well, whatever. I
Mine's
mean,
in October because my saint brings snow.
oh,
That's why it's
Well-
snowing outside right now.
Well, I tried to do a festival,
Yeah.
and the Italian style is we walk the Blessed Mother. We call it the Saint.
Yeah.
And then everybody puts money on it, and on the statue, and then the church gets all the money, and then we go to the church banquet and do a banquet. So I wanted to call it cannolis and pierogies, and then have Italian food and Polish food.
and that would work out great.
And have an intermingling of the two cultures.
Yeah.
It would have
I'll
been
tell
really cool, but we just never got it off the ground.
That's okay.
I'll
Maybe
tell
in
you-
the future someday we will. You know, pull a couple strings.
I'll tell
I
you.
would love to do that.
I'll tell you what. You'd walk into that church, but you'd roll out.
Yeah, for sure. That's funny, actually. Yeah, we'd be stuffing ourselves for sure. Yeah. But so you've been on the Will County board now since 2000. Well, you got elected in 2000, if I'm not mistaken, 22. Is that when it was?
No, I got elected in 2012, I think. No.
Oh.
Will County board.
I've been on there 14 years.
on the Will County board.
Yeah.
Wow, that's much longer than I thought. I should have done my research. So you've been on there for 14 years at
Yeah,
this point.
and I've been
Okay.
on every single committee at one point or another.
Yeah, because there's obviously a bunch of committees that are under Will County,
Yeah.
under the board, right? I know there's a zoning committee, there's a land use committee, there's a bunch of committees.
We have.
Finance
right now
committee.
I'm on Public Works and what's the other one? It's Capital Improvements and IT. I
Okay.
wanted to say IT first, but I knew that wasn't correct. But but like I said, I've been around for a long while on that board. I understand the process, how to get things done there. And ever since I've been on the board, the number one issue for me has been I don't want any tax increases. So I
Yep.
fight against tax increases. I don't like unnecessary spending. I don't like it if they're going to try and do a no bid contract. Those are things that I'm finding wrong with my opponent, because he's on the village board and that's what's going on there. They're voting, which is him and the rest of them, they're voting for not going out to bid for contracts like with the
I
garbage
did hear
company.
that recently. Yeah.
So the garbage thing, he got a 5% increase for 5 years. So that's a 25% compounded is close to 30% increase in 5 years. So why are they doing that? They should hold them honest and go out and get bids from someone else. And there's other contracts that same thing. They just waive the requirement for a bid. And that drives me nuts because I live here.
Yeah.
I'm a citizen of Homer Glen, and I got to pay the freight on this stuff. So why do they go out to bid? I don't know.
Those are good questions to ask. Eventually, we'll ask, and we'll find
Yeah.
out some information. We'll have to because I don't like paying taxes either. Bad enough, I already pay property taxes as it is, high property taxes. I'm glad I don't have to pay for the water. That's a good thing. But I know American Water is a pain in the ass for
It's
for
a
this
real
area.
pain.
Yeah, I know that. Everybody brings the same thing up. It's the water that just costs so much money.
Well,
But
what do you think about you're talking about water? The village of Homer Glen with a no bid contract hired Blagojevich to go out and lobby to get lower water bills, right?
I don't know how that whole thing works.
Well, he doesn't have a lobby license, so how does he lobby? So they paid him $10,000 a month plus $9,999 right at the beginning when they signed a contract or something. But the end result is nothing's changed because he can't lobby. He doesn't have a lobby license, and they don't like him in Springfield. So then
he's got a tarnished name. I can say that
No.
for sure.
So then you hear, well, he knows President Trump and he's lobbying President Trump. Do you think President Trump is listening to anybody at all,
He's got bigger
especially for about Illinois American Water?
He's got bigger problems than that.
Yeah.
He's got bigger things to deal with.
So
yeah.
I'm angry about that. That was $70,000 of our tax dollars getting spent in a stupid way.
I'm not happy with that either. Realistically, I haven't seen any results from it. I know I've heard about it. I haven't really dug deep into it because realistically, getting any kind of information on what the point of this was is going to be hard to find.
It's tough.
But
Well, that's what we're told the point is, but maybe there's another point. I
Maybe
don't
there
know
is.
about.
Maybe
I was gonna say there's three sides to every story, right?
Yeah, and, well, they don't tell you everything
Well,
because they're not 100%
that's probably
transparent.
something. That's probably something that needs to be looked into. Realistically, what was the point of having him? Right. So it's not something we're going to do here right now because
No.
we don't.
We don't know the answer
We don't-
anyway.
yeah, exactly,
The only answer
so-
I know is what I'm told.
Yeah.
We don't have a solution. I don't have
There
a
is no solution coming
solution.
up. I mean, I guess there is down the road, but in terms of the water situation, but they are trying to make the steps in the right direction. The proposal for the sanitation, what is it called? The water treatment
Yeah,
plant.
water treatment plant, that's been in the works for probably 6 years.
Okay.
And they're going at it now, thank God. But when they open it up, it's going to benefit 159th Street right away.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And so businesses can move in there and they'll
Yeah.
start getting tax dollars. But it'll take a while for all that benefit to hit the rest of us
Yeah.
because they have to add on to the treatment plant.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, as long as there's already a plan in motion, they start building, then business can see that hey, something's happening. Finally, we're starting to get interest in these properties. Yada yada yada.
At least there's some type of infrastructure there.
yeah,
right?
well, being built, right?
Yeah.
And
so,
you know what? They didn't explore it, but my group at Township at the time when I was supervisor,
yeah, because you were supervisor. What years for Homer Township?
from 21 to 24, 25.
Okay.
But anyway, when we met the people at one of our Italian functions in Chicago that run the Metropolitan Sanitary District.
Okay.
And so myself, Jay Rohde, Carmen Morella, and Brent Porfolio start talking to those people about using the Metropolitan Sanitary District as a wastewater treatment plant.
Okay.
And they thought it was a great idea. So then they said, what I have to do is go down to Springfield because they have to change the law to allow it. And so then I went down to Springfield and I talked to a bunch of the state reps and state senators, and I met with the board of that group, at a function they were having, and everybody seemed to like it. So then they said, we have to draw plans. So Brent Porfilio was an engineer. He's an acclaimed engineer for road projects and stuff. So he helped design plans. So we were first figured we would connect over to Metropolitan Sanitary District off of Archer in Lamont.
Okay.
Okay.
And then when we did that, we start running into a problem because of the way the earth goes, and it wasn't going it was going down, but it was going down too fast.
Because there's it's a very hilly area around
Yeah,
there.
so
I used to live by
so
there.
Brent said it would be a nightmare to build it that way. So then we spent a couple months, meeting. We were meeting like every couple weeks. And we spent a couple of months going through, how can we do this? Then we found out, well, we could go down Bell Road, and then when we get to 131st Street, I think it is. I forget now exactly, but it was you go down Bell Road, 131st Street, you go toward the west, and there's a connection there. So
Is
we
that
could
Lamont? Because the 131st would be Lamont.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a Lamont connection.
We were talking about, well, maybe we could do that because it wouldn't cost that much money just to lay a pipe along Bell Road to 131st Street and go west. It'd be pretty cheap. But in the meantime, the village decided to turn around and do this treatment plant, and they bought the Booth Farm. So we figured just forget about it because we were trying to avoid going through the village. We were trying to do it in unincorporated so that we would have control of it so that we wouldn't have to go get special permits and all this other
That's
stuff.
true, yeah. That's
But
true.
it ended up that, it fell apart because they made their move finally. They bought that farm.
Well, that's
And
probably still a good move.
it's a good move.
Yeah, it's still a good
I'm
move.
not saying it's bad.
Yeah, it's
I'm
still a
just
good move.
trying to put some light
Yeah.
on to what was going on.
Yeah. Well, you were trying to find a fix, maybe a more of a temporary fix, I guess, right?
No, that was a permanent
That was a
fix.
permanent fix?
But I don't know. If
But then
it
who
would've-
knows what the cost would be associated with.
Well, the cost would have been pretty low, but there was more things associated with it. Because
Yeah, for
now,
sure.
You got to get Lamont on
Well,
board.
that's what I'm trying to say, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Lamont would say, be like, hey, we want an exorbitant fee for getting this stuff in, so maybe it wouldn't, maybe it
might
would be.
not have been good. We don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was just saying there was
Yeah.
another plan that nobody knew about because we didn't bring it out because it was.
Because it was unconfirmed.
Yeah, it was like they already did something, so why should we start arguing about it?
Yeah.
Just go with their plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, the water treatment plant, that needs to be built. Obviously, there's potential for business to come to 159th. We got our own project in mind here on 159th, the Polish Highlanders Association. That's currently we're working on trying to figure that out. Yeah, definitely need to bring in more business into Homer. Obviously, now we don't want from my perspective, my opinion, we don't want no dirty businesses. We don't want no industrial. Maybe something commercial, clean tech, fintech, whatever it may be. Maybe a small commercial zone, where you can have a couple of buildings, couple of
Like an
shops.
industrial park, kind of.
Not industrial,
Not
because
like,
we don't want industrial,
yeah,
right?
like commercial park.
Commercial park, yeah, like a commercial park off 159th. That wouldn't be a bad idea. I don't really want I know it's springing up all over the area, not only here in Homer but all over Will County, basically at this point. High density housing and stuff like that. I know I don't want it. I think there is a law that says that now. I think J.B. Pritzker actually signed a law saying that every municipality or every village now has to have either senior living or high density developments.
Right.
So I don't know if that's actually true or not. I don't want to say for
well,
sure,
what
but I'm pretty
happened-
sure that's what it is.
Well, what happened? This was September. This is before JB did that. Mm-hmm. The
But
village.
he
of
actually made it a law, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
So back in September, this is prior to that, the village of Homer Glen voted to allow any project that's going to give affordable housing the ability to build without a zoning change. And my opponent voted for that. You know, so that means high density, and that means 3 stories, 4 stories, whatever they want, right?
Yeah.
Well, going forward, the state passes that law, and then I'm looking at it and saying, okay, well, back around 2023, I think that's when I did it, but I can't remember the exact date, so don't hold me to
that's fine.
it. But we had a piece of open space called the Welter Farm, and that farm was being farmed, but it was zoned as E2, Estate 2, so it was zoned for houses.
Okay.
So it was being farmed illegally because
Okay.
it wasn't hit the proper zoning. Nobody ever bothered to change it. So I figured, okay, well, I'm going to put in senior housing.
Okay.
And what was my senior housing project? It was going to be a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2-car attached garage on a small lot, real dense,
Yeah.
you know. But these are for seniors.
Yeah.
And it was a place where nobody could see it because you can't even see the Welter Farm from the street.
Where is the Welter Farm?
It's just west of the senior development.
Where's the city?
It's 100 and, well, it's like not 151st. It's further north than 151st. It's Martindale.
Martindale. Oh, okay. Is it by? Is
It's
it behind?
by like Pepe's and all that.
Yeah, behind
Okay.
it. Behind
Okay.
it. Yeah,
so
yeah.
behind that is the senior development.
Yes,
well,
there is.
You can see where the Welter Farm is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only way you're going to see it. You can't see it from the street.
Yeah.
So I figure, okay, we'll do that. And what we'll do is we'll sell the properties for $225,000 with the house on it
Okay.
to the
Still affordable.
seniors. And then in the covenant of the deed, I was going to have no renting, which means no Section 8.
Yeah.
And then I was going to have no leasing, so you can't lease it to nobody. And you can't have any kids.
That
So
makes
don't
sense.
impact the schools.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
So-
that would be senior living for a reason, right?
Right. And so seniors, yeah, I'm a senior. I don't want to cut the grass anymore. So the seniors would be responsible for a little patch to cut the grass and a little backyard to cut the grass. The rest of the stuff that has grass, the township would do it, and there would be maintenance fee, an HOA fee,
Yeah.
but we would call it something different,
Yeah.
of $125 a month. And when we did that, we would have generated $500,000 to Homer 33C with no kids. How about that? And then we would have generated, I believe it was $190,000 to 205 with no kids.
I mean, that's good money.
The village of Homer Glen would have got a bunch of money with hardly impact. So it was like real important, right? The township, I would have finally achieved my goal of making it so there would be 0 property tax in Homer Township. There would be
Interesting.
no tax because this project
Would cover it.
pay for everything we needed, and we wouldn't have to tax anymore.
Well, that'd
And
be what,
it
so
was
what
a
hap-
great one.
So
So
what, well, let's
what
hold on.
happened-
Before we do that, let's take a break real quick because we have something that we got to put up here real quick. One sec. All right, we're back. We had to put up a sign.
We fixed the set.
Well, when I was stopped for the break, I just wanted to make sure everybody knows I figured a way to make it so there never, ever be another property tax in Homer Township.
But like 0 property tax?
0 property
For Homer
tax.
Township.
In other words, this project would eliminated the tax, anything that would cost the township to do,
Yeah.
it would have eliminated it.
Put it a little bit closer.
So we would not have had any township tax anymore.
What's the township tax right now?
I don't know what they're charging now. It was
When you were
I was
commissioner?
when I got in, it was $1,600,000 something. I think it was $1,600,000
Okay.
something.
I was gonna ask for a percentage,
And then
but I
when
don't
I
really know
left,
what
it
that
was $1,300,000 on the township side, and if you add in the road district side, we saved a million there too. Not a million, 100,000.
Oh, okay.
We went down 100,000 every year.
That's good. That's
So
that's an
we
improvement for
cut
sure.
the dollars, not the rates. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
so the rates went down, of course, but we cut dollars.
Yeah.
And that project would have been a fabulous thing because that's what my goal was. they're going around saying I tried to eliminate townships. I wasn't trying to eliminate it. It's a unit of government that we need.
Yeah.
All right. But I don't like taxes. So I figured a way of getting rid of the tax. And people from the village, they went out and knocked doors and started a program saying that I was bringing in Section 8 and that I was destroying open space and all this other crap. So people were going nuts. And so every time they were going nuts, the builder says, I'm going to be in court. I got to raise the price. So it went from $2.25 to $2.50. And then, he's getting more and more, more it got, the worse it got. The builder's like, well, I'm not going to be able to do it for that.
It almost sounds like though, while it was a good intent, a good idea, it wasn't presented very well in terms of out to the public.
It was presented right, except there was a lot of people that didn't want that to succeed. So they were making up things that weren't true about it. All right? So when you hear something negative and you're just knock on your door and I say, hey, this guy's going to bring in Section 8. They don't tell you that you can't, it would never work because in the deed, the covenant of the deed, it says no renting, no leasing.
But I mean, if that was, so that's what I'm trying to say. If that was presented better with more facts.
I said it at the meetings.
Well, but that's just a meeting.
No, I'm talking about we had special town meetings. And I've said it. And nobody wanted to believe me because of, whatever. But it would have been a fabulous project.
Well, listen, it could still happen, right?
Well,
the price is going to be different.
Now I see, after it failed, right? I still wanted to farm it. So I had to go to the village and get it rezoned to OS1, that's Open Space 1, with the right of farming. Because open space doesn't allow you to farm.
Yeah.
So I had to go, and I spent like 3 hours at the planning commission answering a million questions because I don't think they liked it, because when I changed the zoning, it devalued the property.
Okay, so lost tax money.
But if I'm going to farm it, I have to have the right zoning. So that's why I went to the village and I got it zoned now OS1 with the right of farming. So if they wanted to do that project again, whoever was at the township, they could do it again, but they'd have to get the zoning changed. How easy will that be?
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, that's the way it is. Sometimes you learn, certain information that maybe could have been, maybe not presented better, but I mean, there are certain things that just could have been done differently. Maybe. I mean, and also there's just people who just take the first thing they hear and go roll with it. So,
that's what happened.
I mean, that's what it is. But
and then the people that lived right around that area, they were using that area for their personal use.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So all those people, they were all, so then I was going to put a fence up, and then they moved their stuff off.
Is that a Homer Township land?
Yeah.
That's Homer Township land.
It's owned by the township.
Oh, okay. So the township could put a fence up.
So I was going to put a fence up that they couldn't use it, and then I ended up not doing it because everybody moved their stuff off the property that was there. Okay. So I don't want to mess with people. My goal isn't to mess with people. I had to protect the land, though.
Yeah.
So they took it off, so there was no need. So if they go on it now, it's like, who cares?
Well, since we're still here on subject of Homer Glen, I mean, because I would like to talk more about Will County in general. And since we're on the subject here, give us a little bit of backstory on the Civic Center. What happened with the Civic Center? How did this? Because obviously this is a big thing that that certain individuals are blasting you on currently. That it's a big waste of money and whatnot. So give us your side of the story.
Okay. Well, in Pam Meyer's group, when she was a supervisor, they passed a referendum, on the ballot to build a community center or whatever they want to call it. We call it a civic center or whatever, but that's what they passed. So we're bound by that when I took over.
Okay.
And we had people coming to the meetings and screaming, when are we going to build this thing? And I had no intentions on doing it until I could find the money.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I got to raise taxes, which I hate.
Yeah.
Right? So we finally came up with a solution, and we start to build it, right? And it got to be winter where they couldn't do anymore. And the election was coming up.
Yeah.
So we had the building built, and we had everything in place, and we didn't win.
Yeah.
So I didn't do anything because I don't want to do anything and put what I want on the new board. So we stopped. And I told the developer, I said, listen, you cut us off. What you're doing now, finish the project that you're doing right now. That's it. Then we'll pay you for everything and wait till the new board takes over because they can't do nothing anyway when it was too cold. So that was February. And then when they took over in May, they could start working again.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, the thing that happened that was wrong was I made sure that they had all the information on my computer. The office staff all had the same information because I tapped my computer into their computer, all my stuff. Then I had the IT guy make a flash drive of my computer so that if anything happened to anything, he had a flash drive of everything that I did for 4 years. And it was supposed to be given to the supervisor. Whether it was or not, I have no idea. But I did all that stuff. So they could find out where I spent the money, how I was doing things. Now, there were things that I didn't tell them, and I wouldn't because I'd get in trouble because you don't say people's names. But the Village of Homer Glen, by our agreement, our annexation agreement for the township property, said that if they violated, that we give them 30 days notice and we can withdraw from the Village of Homer Glen. Well, they wanted us to pay for engineering, which we didn't have to pay according to our annexation agreement. So my plan was to, which served them a 30-day notice, and then get out of the Village of Homer Glen. And I talked to the county. They would have took us with no problem because they violated the agreement. We didn't have to go to court or nothing. The county said, we'll just start automatically being in the county again. And if they take you to court, well, that can play out. But it ain't going to win because they actually violated the contract. So there was $70,000 that we had to do in trees, evergreen trees, along the eastern end of that property. And it was a waste of money in my mind because there's about 15 feet of vegetation that you can't see through already there. So why do you have to put in more vegetation? No, it's just a way to stick it to us, kind of. That's what municipalities do sometimes. So I would have eliminated that $70,000. Then there was $166,000 from the road district that they were able to give us from the motor fuel tax, which was allowed to be used for this project. And then I had 3 donors. I would have got more, but I had 3 donors that were going to give us big money to get their names on the building.
Okay.
Well, they want to know who. I ain't going to tell them who. They would, one of them donated something, and then when we lost, they undonated it. They don't want to. They only did it because I asked them.
Yeah.
All right, so they could go
I mean,
out.
that's information that he doesn't
Right, but they
necessarily
could
don't have to share with nobody. Realistically, these
and-
are your donors, right? You could say, right? I mean, maybe towards a municipal building that's owned by the township and whatnot. Well, depends. But again, if you're the one who went out and found these donors who are willing to donate because you're making it happen, then it's their right to say no.
they told me no.
Yeah.
Don't tell this. They told me no and said never let anyone know my name.
Oh, okay. Well,
And I'm not going to ever tell their names.
Yeah.
But there were 3 of them. And the Chicago Tribune, Michelle Mullins, she interviewed me about it. And I told her the exact same thing I'm telling you guys. And guess what? It's in the Tribune, exactly how I planned to pay for it. And we would have had it open had we been in office in May or June.
Yeah.
Well, it's still not open. And they've got more tax dollars that came in that could have been used for it.
Yeah.
And I changed the parks and the open space because the open space, there's no levy for it. It's just we get money from the farm,
Yeah.
the farming, that's it. So I made the Civic Center, which is basically a park. It's like a park district in the city of Chicago. So kids can go there after school. It wasn't for anything else than people in our town.
Yeah.
So what happens is I changed it from being a open space to parks. Our board voted to make it part of parks. So when we did that, now we got the park levy to help pay for it, and the park levy stayed the same. After I gave all the parks that belonged to Homer Glen originally that we took, there was no reason to take parks when it should have went to them. It belongs to the people in the subdivisions, not the township.
Yeah.
So I gave them to the village, and they took them, and they're running with them. And they were bitching about it a little bit, and I said, well, just give them back then. I was just trying to do the right thing by giving it to them.
Yeah.
And then there's a park in Lockport called Morris Park. And I gave the permission from the township for the Lockport Junior Porters football team and chairs and all that to use the township portion of that park. And then the Lockport part, we worked for probably 2 years on this to get it where we could transfer that portion of the park to the Lockport Township Park District. And right before the election, we finally got that done.
Mm-hmm.
So Lockport has the majority, and we have the remainder, which means we have way less maintenance.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So our levy stays the same. So what are they doing with that money, right? Well,
That's a good question.
so the whole idea is that I kept reducing the cost of government, and that's how I got away with the things I did. But you got to look at the people I had on my board. I had Mike Clausen. He has a company that builds bridges. So he was the guy that was in charge of the Civic Center. So instead of hiring a project manager, I had a trustee doing it for free. And he spent a lot of time, and it was smooth. Then Angel Shake, she was a trustee. She was a project manager. So I put her in charge of all the senior stuff because we had grants from the HUD to fix the buildings. And when you hire these companies, they don't do what they're supposed to. She oversaw it and made sure everything was done right. No charge. We didn't hire a project manager, so we saved 2 project manager salaries, right?
Yeah.
Mike Bonomo, he ran the seniors. He used to take off of work 1 or 2 days a week to come and organize all this stuff for the seniors. And then he would go out and get donations for a lot of their stuff. So when people say, well, how did this guy do it? We did it because of that. Then Carmen Morella, he's the assessor, but he's also a tax accountant, and he teaches CPA stuff over at Lewis College. So the guy knows what he's doing. So he's putting all the figures together for us. At what cost? 0.
So it sounds like you had a good team working on this, and a lot of it, a lot of the progress that was done in that building was based off of just people donating their time.
Well, think about this. We have two things. We got a road district, and we had a maintenance division. All right? So the head of the maintenance division, he retires. But I have 2 guys left out of 3. And one of the guys is a master carpenter. And he knows everything about building, right?
Yeah.
The other guy's a master plumber, and he knows all about plumbing. So I'm thinking, well, why do we have to hire out all the time? So
We hired within.
they take care of it. Well, the master carpenter can't lay the floors because that's the union he was, so he can't lay it. But he can tell them what to do. He can supervise it more or less. He says, well, do this, do that. And guess what? Angel Shake, that's the guy's wife, was able to lay the floors. Wasn't a union. and she knew what she was doing. So we were getting the floors put in for cost of the material, which they were getting very inexpensively from sources that they know from their businesses.
I mean, that all makes sense.
So you see where I
Yeah.
was coming from? Cut everything you can cut and keep doing it. But you have to have qualified people
Yeah.
to do this kind of thing.
How much money was invested into that project?
In the senior thing?
Yeah. No, into the Civic Center.
The Civic Center was it was total cost at the time would have been 2.3, and then now when we left, the cost of lumber and stuff went up,
Yeah.
so they were saying it'd be close to like 2.4 or 2.5, but I don't know exactly.
But how much was spent up to that point to the point where it is now?
I don't remember the exact figure, but
Okay.
it was, let's say it was right around 2 million.
Okay, so close to that 2.3.
Yeah, it was right around 2 million, somewhere in there.
Seems like it's close. It was closer to be getting done.
Well, maybe
Then-
maybe it would have been done if they won. I mean, right? Who knows? I mean, that's
Well, for sure it would have been done
Yeah.
because I had the money.
Yeah.
And I also knew that there's more taxes coming in every year. So when we got the new taxes, there's more money in the parks.
yeah, that's true. I mean, so that was a good approach.
I mean, I had it all figured out. And it's just not me either. I mean, I got my crew, I guess you want to call. But when you got qualified people that are experts at what they do,
Yeah.
you can figure this stuff
Oh,
out.
100%. I agree.
And-
if you have the right team, you can make a lot of things happen. That
And that's why we're so
that's-
good, because
yeah.
we had a winning team. It wasn't just me.
Yeah.
I come up with ideas, and they tell me, no, it ain't going to work. And other times they'd say, yeah, let's do it. And then they would put the numbers together with Carmen. Then they'd put their expertise in and how to do
Yeah.
it. And then we would all sit down and talk about it. And then we would bring it to the Civic Center. We had 5 public hearings. And they said we didn't inform the people well enough. We had 5 public hearings.
Well,
So
whoever the next time you need more social media. That's how you're going to spread that information realistically at this point, because that's the only
but
that's
I'm
the
just-
way to get the information
No,
out. I mean,
but
that's-
we're talking too much about that. But
exactly. We
the
need to get back
county,
on the counties where we're interested in here now.
and where I sit right now is there's a lot of people that are mad at me
Okay.
because number one, I stopped 143rd Street, whether they want to hear it or they don't want to hear it. I just kept complaining, and then I found out how to stop it, and I don't want to say it publicly, but the day after I told them how I was going to stop it, a compromise appeared.
I mean,
Okay?
yeah. All right. Sounds
I-
good. But did you ever vote for the project?
No.
Ever?
See, no. And that's the other. Here's what happens at the county. And people got to understand it. And I got that changed. The county rules have now changed because of this. When we vote on a 2020 plan, a 2030 plan, a 2050 plan, you're voting on the plan. And you're not voting on each thing. So there's like a bunch of plans in
Yeah.
the plan.
Well, yeah.
So
Based
if you don't vote for the plan in its entirety,
okay, that makes
it
sense.
don't get passed. And now they have to go out and they have to find. They got to
Finance
bid it.
how to
They got to do a lot of work
Find the money.
before it gets moving.
yeah.
So we vote. Everyone would just vote yes because
It's the plan.
it's a plan.
It's a general plan, right?
So I never voted particularly for that. It was in the plan. But when 2000 and oh God, I can't remember when exactly it was. When I first got on the board, they were talking about raised barrier meetings on 143rd Street and Bell Road.
okay.
And 143rd was going to go in first. And me and Frizzalone, that was my partner on the board, we fought them and we got them to stop the raised barriers because that's what everyone was complaining about. Nobody realized at the time what was really coming. People were mad about those raised barrier medians because they couldn't get across the street.
Yeah.
Well, we did our best and we stopped it. And then going forward, well, now you have 143rd Street going to connect with Route 59 in Shorewood or Plainfield. I don't know where the heck it
Okay.
is. But it's going to connect there.
So they're building it out
They
further.
built a bridge over the Des Plaines River. I think it's the Des Plaines River, but they built it over that river, and it stopped. And it's eventually going to connect 143rd and 355. And
Okay.
the
Because 143rd merges into Archer in Lockport.
it's going to go a little bit around it from what I saw on diagrams, but it's going to connect the 143rd Street. All right, so now
So
when you
that's
get
another,
off,
that's another future plan.
and when it gets off at 143rd Street, you go east, and it's going to go all the way to Cicero. That's their plan. Okay,
And that's going to be a truck route, I'm going to guess, at that point.
as soon as you get 143rd Street, that's going to go even up to Cicero.
Yeah, all the way from...
And then why do they want it to go to Cicero? They want it because you can get on 80 off of Cicero, and you can get on 57.
55 and 57, yeah.
So they wanted another way to connect that for trucks so that everything moves faster. Well, they take no consideration.
The initial plan is good, right? The initial plan is good, but without consideration for the resident.
Yeah, well, the problem is that when you do the plan, it's an IDOT plan going over the river, then it's a state plan for a different thing, and then when it gets to where we're at, it's a county plan. So you got to be a rocket scientist to figure out what plan is what.
Yeah.
And the people that live in the houses in the neighborhoods over there, can you imagine with trucks going up and down there?
I mean, I like that road, and it's not a very wide road, and I would like to keep it that way. I guess it's a country feel, right?
Yeah.
A 2-lane road on each side is being a truck route over there, which I mean, trucks can already drive down there, right? But not as frequently as they do now.
They don't want to go down there.
Yeah, because it's tight. It's a tight road, right? But if they turn it into a 2-lane road on each side, then it's going to become a problem for the residents. It's going to be loud. It's going to be much less safe. It's,
Without a doubt.
it's going to be there's pluses on the large scale of things, but there's a lot of negatives on the small scale of things, like the residents and the noise
And traffic.
and the traffic
Yeah.
and the safety and stuff like that. It's hard to and I understand what you're saying, that it's part of a major plan, like a 10-year plan. But that doesn't mean that every single project on that plan is actually going to come to fruition, right? Is that the word I've heard?
Fruition.
Fruition, whatever.
Their goal is to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the goal is to make it. I mean, I'm sure the goal is to make it all happen, but it depends on the economy, depends on the financing, the funding, depends on a lot of different things.
Well, we stopped it now. So people are
Stop
mad
what?
at because now it's going to go, the Bell Road project goes all the way to Golden Oak.
Yeah, to Parker.
Okay. No, it goes from the Bell Road project. It's a Village of Homer Glen paid for thing. So it goes from Bell Road to Golden Oak, and that's where it would stop. And then
Where's
from
Golden Oak?
Bell Road, Golden Oak.
Golden Oak, is that
It's about where the Purple Onion is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's that street over
Okay,
there,
yeah,
the
yeah.
red
Yeah,
light.
yeah.
So it would stop at that red light. Well, the county compromise means it's going to go from Parker to, the Golden Oak now. So it's about a half mile.
Yeah.
And there are people, that's why I voted no to it. I voted no to the compromise because there's a bunch of people that live in that development that are going to be hurt.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I didn't want to vote for that.
Why do
Yeah.
you need that for not even half a mile?
Yeah, it's about a half mile. So we actually won on that because now the trucks aren't going to come. If that was straight through,
Yeah.
we'd be getting all kind of truck traffic.
Well, now we got what we got to do now. Okay, so let's just say they won that battle, but they didn't win the war because they didn't get the whole street, right? Well, now we're gonna have to fight going into the future. We're talking specifically here in this area to keep 143rd the way it is now from Parker through to Lamont, because Lamont Road already is 2-lane.
Yeah.
It's already 2 lanes. So there's that stretch where they're probably going to attack and trying to get that.
They're going to try and do it again.
Yeah.
But they have to start from scratch.
Yeah.
And now if they start from scratch, people like me
Yeah.
that understand the project, you think I'm going to stand there and be quiet?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
when they put it on the plan, because now we've seen plans going forward.
Yeah.
And it's listed, but it isn't. It's gone not funding.
Make sure that on that plan there ain't no expansion plans for Parker Road.
No, I'm watching it all. I don't want
They
that
already
either.
tried that already.
Well, they tried doing Hadley Road.
I know, but that would include a Parker as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
We fought that as much as we could, and we won. I mean, I know.
Did you know the township was going to take that road? I gave them a jurisdictional transfer at the county to give it to the township, and then the city decided that, and we, after our road commissioner, he looked at it and said we could take that road and maintain it and wouldn't even have to raise taxes. Because there was a special way that road was built with the asphalt. They put a composite in there that the longer it's in there, the stronger it gets.
Oh, interesting.
So it's a real good road.
It is a good road. I mean, it could need a little bit of a cleanup right now, but
Well, they
generally-
need to fix the ditches and stuff.
Yeah. But that road is now city road, right? Village
It's
road.
village road.
So that at least solves that problem. I'm sure we're gonna have to eventually repave it, stuff like that. That's gonna come down the road.
It won't be for a long while.
That's still a good road.
But
It's in
you're
good
going to have
condition.
to, that's part of it. But
Yeah.
Porfirio said that he could pay for it from our current taxes that were reduced.
It's a small price to pay.
You wouldn't
for-
even have to raise taxes. And
Yeah.
he said that's not big enough that we worry about it.
Right now, it's not a problem. Right now, it's actually good. It's in good shape as it is. I know it's an older road, but it's in good shape. I just didn't want it any wider. I don't want no, because the wider it gets, I'm gonna have a road under my living room. You know what I mean? And they're gonna chop down all my trees in the front. That was the plan originally. They're gonna chop down like 2,000 or 3,000 trees to make this happen. And I'm like, what? That's the whole point of the area.
ruins
is-
the aesthetic of the area.
Exactly. So that we fought that, but. Let's get on the Will County board since we already talked quite a bit about the local here. So
But that's a counting issue.
yeah, that is a county issue, 100%. You are right though on that because the 143rd was technically a
So
project.
I know what's going on,
Yeah.
and I'm watching that stuff, and I am going to stay no to it, and I will rally the troops like I did before to say no. We had Democrats cross over. I talked to them. I actually can talk to people. It's not where, I'm hard line. Well, I know what I want,
yeah.
but I know that in order to get it passed, I got to convince other people. And in an 11-11 board, I need Democrats to flip over.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that makes sense, right? I mean, you help me there, I'll help you there. I mean, you
Yeah.
got to have a little bit of a middle ground. Obviously, and we had this conversation before, when Mike was actually here, there has to be some middle ground. Obviously, there are, really, really far left, really, really far right, ideas, perspectives, whatever it could be. But there are some that are in the middle that we can all work together on and make things happen. So, I mean, realistically, you just got to try to work with both sides.
Well, let's put it like this. On issues like roads, you go with what the people want.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And so if it's affecting one block of people and that's it, then it's like I don't want it because it's in my yard.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if it's affecting the whole neighborhood, you got to stand against it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for the whole neighborhood, at that point, it becomes a bigger issue.
Yeah,
than,
you can't. You're representing people. It's a representative government.
Yeah.
By design, and so if you don't represent the people you belong, getting the hell out of there.
Yeah. But let me ask you just real quick. The 143rd project from Parker to Bell Road is now basically done deal. There's nothing you can do to stop it, right?
No.
It's over. There's no.
That was a compromise. Instead of going
Yeah,
from
makes sense.
Parker, from Golden Oak to Bell Road, that's the Bell Road project. The 143rd Street's going to go. Now it's the 143rd Street project is Golden Oak west to Parker, which is about a half mile.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's
well,
it.
that's a compromise. Now we just got to make sure that we fight for the rest of it. They don't try to expand it.
Yeah.
Keep the trucks out.
And they
I don't know
haven't.
why. I don't know why. Like, so Southwest Highway is right up. Route 6 is right up here, or just south of us. And that was just redone recently in the last couple of years into a brand new road, but single lane. Why didn't they just build it as a 2-lane? I mean,
don't know.
that has an effect on Homer. That has an effect on New Lenox. It has an effect on Mokina. I mean, the entire area down here. If you want to make a truck route and it gets off of 355, you can get off on 355 because that's where I get off on 355.
And it goes
You
all the way
shoot
to
Route
Worcester.
6 all the way go to Wolf Road.
Oh,
But
yeah,
that
that's right. 'cause
merges
it
into
ends-
Wolf
it
Road.
ends over here. Okay.
Yeah. So why didn't they just expand that to a 2-lane?
They have parameters that they follow from IDOT. And I don't know
I mean,
why.
a reasonable person would have asked, like,
I
okay.
agree with you.
A reasonable person would have been like, all right, you guys are planning 143. Why not just expand that road up there and just make it that much? If you're already doing it,
Yeah.
why not just make it 2 lanes on each side? That was a big question mark for me when they were building. I'm like, if you guys are building a brand new road, why the hell isn't it just 4 lanes? There's no people that live there.
Right.
I mean, there's people that live there obviously, but they live off the road. They don't live on the road, right? There's a lot of room for both sides.
Yeah.
There's a lot of marsh there and stuff like that. So it's right next to the freaking train tracks too. Train tracks run along Route 6. So at that point, just make it a bigger road and just have a corridor for the train and the roads, right?
Right.
That part don't make sense to me. I don't know why.
A lot of things happen that don't make sense.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
Yeah, that's true.
You
but
get used to it after a while.
yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there's certain things you can do. There's certain things you can't do. I had somebody reach out to me just recently. They're like, they're trying to. I don't know why they reached out to me, but they did. They're trying to take a piece of my land on 143rd in between Parker and Bell Road, and how do I fight this? Yada yada. I'm like, it's already too late. There's nothing you can do. You had a chance to get bought out for that piece of land, but realistically, now I think there's already past that point where now they're just going to take it, right? If I'm not mistaken, that's what it is.
Well, if they just can't take it. They got to do eminent domain.
Yeah, eminent domain, but
And
exactly.
then you go to court.
Yeah, but does eminent domain still give you a chance to get some kind of
Compensation.
for it?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right,
absolutely.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they was just taking it.
Well, there's laws. The Supreme Court made a ruling about property taxes, right? So in 2023, the Supreme Court made a ruling that if you don't pay your taxes, and I think it's 2 years, and then the third year they take it. All right, they take your house and they give to some investor, and they get your house. It could be paid off for $400,000, and they only had to pay $50,000 for the taxes. So they get $350,000 profit.
Value, yeah.
Okay, Supreme Court said of the United States said you can't do that.
That's
you
how it should
have
be.
to give the people their equity. Well, that's what Carmen Morales is doing. If he gets elected as treasurer, he's saying that he's going to enforce that law so that people don't lose their equity.
Mm-hmm. So the equity has to be paid out.
Yeah, so when you're talking about eminent domain, it applies to that too. They didn't specifically that I know of say eminent domain, but they have to give you what's the considered value of that part.
Mm-hmm.
They just can't take it and not pay you.
Well, that's what I didn't really look that deep into it, but because I already knew at that point that project is basically in stone. There's nothing you can do to stop that project. He can fight, he can get lawyers and everything, which I understand. He's pissed about it, but this project is approved. That was the compromise, as you said, and there's nothing that you can do to stop it.
No, now that's a done deal now.
That's a done deal. So either so don't even waste your money. Just get your eminent domain, whatever the value is.
But the thing is, if it's you're east of Parker,
I am west of Parker, right?
then they ain't going to touch you.
No, the person that called me is east of Parker.
East of Parker, they're going to go to eminent domain.
Yeah, exactly. So he's going to waste money trying to do something. He's pissed about it, but it's like, unfortunately, that's what the project was, and there's literally nothing you can do about it at that point. The county enforced it, even though the whole voting thing about the county with that was suspect at best said, because I thought it was voted against, and then somebody flipped their vote the next day or something like that, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to get into that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what that was. I read up on it. It's complicated.
I know what it was.
Yeah. Well, that sounds. Yeah. Well, let's just not say any more than that. But in terms of Will County, otherwise, obviously your District 4 is Mokina, Frankfurt, New Lenox, well, parts of at least, all of Homer, and what else do we have under there?
Tinley Park,
unincorporated Tinley Park, right?
I have.
Will County version.
Will County Tinley Park.
Yeah, because the Tinley Park is a very small part of Tinley Park, technically, right? Yeah, so that's part of.
There's a lot of people,
Yeah.
but it's a small, the Will County part.
So in that general sense, I mean, and when you're on the board for the district, you're on the board for the whole county, right?
Right.
So you guys have to decide on certain projects all as a board, not just for your district, but for you.
Everybody.
Yeah, but your job is to represent your district, the people that live in your district, to make sure that if there is a project coming to your part of town, that you can inform the people and maybe have a better, a chance to maybe either do it one way or another, right? But it's the same thing for any other member and any other part of the district.
Well, kind of what you're
and
saying.
any part of the county.
I'm in charge of my district. I shouldn't say in charge. I'm the person from my district that represents my district. But people from other parts will call me up. And they'll say, I got a problem and I live in Manhattan, or I got a problem, I live in Crete. I have a problem and I live in another, it don't matter.
Yeah.
When they call me up, I help them.
Yeah. Well, you talk to either their representative.
So I make sure their representative knows. And unfortunately, a lot of times the representative doesn't want to deal with it.
Yeah.
So, I look at this as my job. and I'm supposed to represent all the people of Will County, not just where I live.
Right. Yeah.
And so if you got a problem and you live in Manhattan, I'm going to help you.
Yeah.
And I know I've been around long enough to know, like the city officials, that if you're in the city part or the schools, I mean, I have known enough people on a personal level. I have their cells, and I can talk to them, and I can help almost everybody at one point. And if I can, I tell them, hey, I did my best, you know.
All right. Here's a quick rundown of questions I got for you, and you can just say yes or no if you're for it or if you're against it. You ready?
I'm ready.
Data centers,
No.
solar panels,
No.
nuclear power plants.
Maybe.
Depends on the spot.
Depends on the spot. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, it depends on the
Doesn't
whole
really
build-up,
matter in
yeah.
the long term of things, but
Windmills.
No.
That's about generally what I wanted to ask. Mars probably has one or two.
I have a question. I guess this is more open ended, but is there anything you're currently, I guess, working on or actively working on that you want to share with people, that something that you think is important that people should know about that maybe they're not aware of?
Yeah, there's two things.
Yeah,
What do you got?
go right ahead.
The first thing is the Educational Choice Act that was passed with the big, beautiful bill.
Okay.
So it's a law already. So in Illinois, the governor has to sign on to it. So I tried to get a referendum on the county board side to ask the governor to sign the bill to sign on to this project. So what happens is you can get a $1,700 donation for this educational bill, and it goes to, if he signs on to it, it goes to children that live in Illinois. Well, there's other people that donate way more than $1,700 too.
Right.
But that's what you get back on your taxes. So it's dollar for dollar, you get that back. So if you donate $1,700, you get $1,700 back on your taxes right off the get-go. And that money's going to help kids for anything that they need, like special books, special tutoring. If they're in sports, they need certain
Equipment.
I mean, you go through a list. Anything that will help a child in school. It don't matter if you're in public school, Catholic school, private school, home school, don't matter. Anything you need, the kid gets, right? That's the bill. Well, I brought that forward. I had people come and, that were backing it. That's where I got it from, Illinois Policy Institute. So they wanted me to run it through the county for them. And it's a good thing. Well, the opposite side of all the Republicans thought it was great. Democrats don't think it's great. So guess what? It got killed in the committee because they think that it was going to hurt public schools. Well, it don't.
But so, real quick, I mean, let's keep it short. But explain the program. I don't understand how this. So if I have kids in school, right? I have a kid in school, and
You probably don't even need a kid in school to donate.
No, anybody could donate.
Yeah.
So I would have to donate money, right, from my
No,
pocket.
you don't have to donate anything.
I don't have to. It's a donation, so it's not mandatory, right? So if I decided to donate $1,700 towards, let's say, my kid's school, I can write that off on my taxes.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
And you can donate $100.
And I would assume that's $1,700 off your federal tax, right? Not state tax.
Yeah.
So not
Federal.
local taxes. It's
So if you
off-
don't pay a lot in taxes already, then you'd actually get a refund from that if you did donate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very possibly.
Well, you would donate and they give you the money back.
Yeah. Okay. So you're basically donating. So you're basically donating towards a certain thing, certain cause. Let's just say.
with a guarantee,
But you
of
get your money back.
with a guarantee of getting it back.
Why wouldn't that make no
well,
sense?
I can see the reason why is because
Why would it make sense?
I would assume the Democrats are like, well, more people are going to go into private schools or homeschool and stuff like that because they can use that money, that $1,700 outside of
To
public
improve
school. Outside of public school.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would assume that's the reason
It
why.
could be. I don't know. I couldn't understand it because Illinois is not going to do it. And if I donate $1,700, I get my money back.
Right.
And guess where my money goes? Indiana,
Yeah.
Texas,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
some
Exactly.
place that signed on to it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
It's a good way of keeping your money local,
yeah.
your tax money local, right?
That makes
Because
no sense. Well, there's a lot of things that don't make
So,
sense.
yeah,
I
that's my thinking.
Yeah.
As far as that's probably why, right? If you're homeschooling a kid or you're sending them to a private school, the private school's going to use that money, that $1,700
to expand
to
programs
help
or
whatever with
yeah.
that, and then it takes it out of the public school essentially, and it gives an incentive of people to have their kids go to private schools or homeschool or whatever it is, or Catholic
In
school.
a way, I guess you could
Right.
say, right?
And-
That's a bigger thing that we're realistically what we're
There's,
looking.
there's, I mean, that's
Yeah.
just me.
What's the second thing that you're working on?
The other thing is, right now there's a big push by the federal government to have voter ID.
Yeah,
Right.
All right. Well, I tried to get it at the county, and I'm still working on it. I was told by the speaker to talk to one of the other commissioners from the Democrat side, and I think she's okay with it. So we might be able to vote on it at the county board level on a referendum on the ballot that we prefer voter ID. But I'm not sure. So in order to make it so this will happen, I've been calling up different township supervisors and township chairs in the Republican Party, asking them to try and get it on the ballot from where they live, either with their city or their township. And then if we get enough townships to do it, it's almost as good as passing it at the county.
yeah.
And right now, I got, I think it's 9 different places that are willing to take it to their board to see if they'll put it on. And one of them's Lockport Township, and that's controlled by a Democrat supervisor. And he says he doesn't know if it's going to pass, but he'll bring it forward
Yeah.
because I explain it. Republicans think Democrats cheat.
Yeah.
All right, Democrats think Republicans cheat.
True.
So everybody
ID
thinks
will-
there's cheating. Well, get voter ID and end the cheating. And the argument against it from a lot of the Democrats is that it stops illegals from voting.
Well, isn't that the point?
And that's, to me, is a major
That's a
point.
big benefit.
You know, I don't think they should have the same rights as a citizen.
I agree. I mean, that's
You know,
that's the law.
my family came here and they had to work their butts off to get anywhere.
As it ours.
You know, and God bless all the people that had to come legally. How much money did it cost to become a citizen here from
How
another
much time?
country?
How much time?
2, 3, 4 years, right?
Yeah, well, that's the minimum.
I mean,
that's
but
the-
it's a lot of
yeah.
work. It ain't
Yeah.
simple. And
Yeah.
now
And
these
now they're
other
just-
people come in. Hey, you're welcome. Come on in. What the heck is
Join
that?
the program.
And then they give them money.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I have a lot of sympathy for people that want a better life,
I agree.
but don't bring them here and then overwhelm our system.
Yeah.
You know, there's back in the, I think it was the mid '60s, there's a socialist program called Cloward and Piven. And what that was they designed a way to destroy the United States from within. They wanted to bring people in and make them all apply for welfare and all the public stuff that's free, overwhelm the system so the system falls apart and
Yeah.
collapses. And that's kind of what I see going on now.
That's been a plan in the making for a long time.
Yeah. Well, that's the '60s. So
Yeah,
it might
I
have
mean,
been
that's-
before that.
It ain't a conspiracy theory. It's that was a plan.
Yeah.
One way or another. And was it who started it? Who founded it?
A guy named Cloward, Cloward, and Piven, Piven.
And where were they from? Were they part of an organization?
I don't know what organization. I don't remember.
I'm sure they were. There was probably a
But
deeper,
they
deeper
were
ties to
they were
something else.
socialists, I'm sure.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes it. That
Yeah.
I missed that
No.
part. So yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of what's going on.
Yeah.
If you go to a hospital, the emergency room, you can't get in, right?
yeah. I mean,
I don't know if it's still that bad, but when I had appendicitis, they took me in an ambulance, and I didn't get operated on for till 12 hours later.
I had pneumonia one long time ago. And
Yeah.
Went to the hospital. for
You
the
were
ER.
waiting there forever.
I was there probably for 12 hours, just waiting in the waiting room.
Yeah, so it's a shame, but they're overwhelming us,
Yeah.
and we're letting it happen, and that's what really is bad because we're smart people. We shouldn't be allowing that. They should come in legally, and they only let so many people in, and like you said, it's years, and it's
Yeah.
not hard. You get green cards, and you can be
The
here.
people,
but
the people that are here that obtain citizenship, it took a lot. It took a toll because it took a lot of time. It took a lot of work. It took a lot of effort. Those people are actually pissed off about the fact that these people that are coming, that are getting these, free, citizenships right away or whatever, that they're trying to propose that. Those people are mad.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, because it wasn't an easy process.
Yeah.
No.
And not everybody got it either.
And even people that came here illegally, I mean, a lot of them ended up doing all the work to get
That even takes
citizenship,
longer.
right?
That takes up to 10 years.
yeah.
And did you know, my dad, we had a trucking company, and my dad also had some other businesses. So he would sponsor people to come in from
Yes.
Sicily.
Yes.
And you had to sign papers. He was responsible to make sure they had housing and a job.
Yes. Those
We
same
had,
thing for
we had the
Portugal.
same thing for us.
If he
Yep.
didn't have a job, they'll take him away.
That was a visa program. That wasn't a visa program. That was I don't know what it was called, but it was a program part of the United States. Just like the lottery used to be, the lottery for visas back in the day. That's how we got here. Like we came here as legal residents, right? Or that's what you call it, legal residents.
Legal residents. Yeah.
So my
Permanent
grandma
residents, right.
my grandma was a citizen already in America, if I'm not mistaken. Back in she got her citizenship in the 80s, and then she applied for the lottery system for our family. So her daughter, which is my mom, she applied for our family for the lottery system, and we won the lottery in '95, and we're able to come here as legal residents. But that only gives you a time of, I think, 10 years.
Yeah, permanent residents. You get 10 years.
Yeah.
Permanent residence.
I don't know
but
the law.
your
but-
permanent residence is 10 years. After 10 years, you're here illegally,
Yeah.
unless you get your stuff in order.
Yeah.
So our parents got citizenship before the time was up and became citizens, right? They did their due diligence, they did the job, and they got it done.
We were under
So-
18, so we got it too.
Yeah,
right?
we were
So-
under 18, so we got our citizenships basically as a hand down. They got it done before my 18th birthday.
Yeah.
So when I came here, I was 8. 10 years was at 18.
Right.
So right on the dead, right before
I think it was even before that because I
it
barely
was.
remember it.
It was, yeah.
So I must have been like 7, right? So, it was
So no, they got it right before I turned 18.
Okay.
I think they got it when I was 17 or 16 even, or something like that. But regardless of the fact, I mean, I didn't have to go to get the citizenship, but I still had to do a U.S. Constitution test in 8th grade.
so did I.
So
Didn't we all?
so realistically, if I had to go do it, I would have been like, easy, boom, boom, I just got it done, done,
Right.
you know, citizen, right? But I had to study it, and so did they,
Yeah.
and they didn't speak English.
It was hard for them.
Yeah, it was hard for them, and you still have to put sentences together. You still have to know how to write something. You have to answer the questions that are on the Constitution, asking you certain questions: how many senators, how many representatives, yada yada, who is the president, stuff like that.
Do you think you can pass one right now?
Probably, I think so. I know a lot of information
You
about
remember the
government.
preamble?
Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, I mean, you got to remember a lot of stuff. It's
Yeah.
part of the Constitution, right? So, would I have to brush up on certain things? 100%. But that was part of the process. So, it took a long time. But it was always, there was a way to do it, right? Even for illegals, there was a way for you to obtain citizenship if you didn't commit crime.
Right.
If you follow the procedure, and if you actually tried. If you didn't try, what are you expecting?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. What are you expecting to get? It's just a free ride. You
But
know?
that's what's going on
Yeah,
now.
well, yeah, it's kind of annoying. So,
Yeah. And
it's getting cleaned
but
up.
people are learning the lesson the hard way.
100%, because now
Right.
they're complaining that I should have applied for paperwork when Biden was president because it was easier. Yeah, you should have,
And you didn't.
and you didn't. So now you gotta now you gotta tremble that you might get picked up on it. If you didn't commit a crime, your chances are low of you getting picked up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you committed a crime, you're gonna get picked up.
Right.
There's
No doubt about it.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it is what it is.
Uh,
Listen, go ahead.
And I was one more question. You said what you are working on currently. Do you have any
Plans for
plans
the
for the future? Any goals set?
Well,
If you were to continue
future. Get reelected.
as the
if I get
accountable.
elected again, I'm going to go back to the building codes. And the building codes are a problem because there's a lot of codes that don't belong on the books. And then there's a lot of codes that are there and people don't obey them because they're stupid. And I don't know another way to say it. You got to be an idiot to think it's okay. Now, for instance, I got a lot of the stuff for the exterior of your home. Like if you're going to put a window in, not a window, a door in the same opening, you don't have to get a permit anymore.
Okay.
If your
That's fair.
roof is leaking, you get to do one square, which I forgot what that is, but you get to do a square without getting a permit. Before you had to get permits.
Yeah.
Okay, if you go to, here's what I want to fix. If you go to replace your hot water tank, because I never got into the plumbing part, and I want to get into the plumbing part. So if your hot water breaks on Friday night when you come home from work and you're all scummed up because you're a construction worker, you go turn the water on, it's cold. So, you go, oh, okay, what do I do? And then you go look at your thing. So it's not working. It's not heating. Or there's a big puddle of water.
Yeah. Okay.
You got to replace it.
Okay.
You got to get a permit to replace it.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah. So what do people do? They just fix it themselves, or they get someone that knows how to fix it.
True.
So now your toilet. Let's talk about a toilet.
I didn't know you need a permit to replace your freaking water
You
here.
can take the toilet off and put a brand new toilet on it. But if you're going to replace the wax, you need a permit.
Oh my God.
And if you're going to replace the shutoff valves, you need a permit. So I need to fix that stuff. You know, it's ridiculous that you have that on the books
Right.
because no one pays attention. Now,
I don't even think people know.
well, people, they get in trouble because
They don't know.
I'll give you an example. In Homer Glen, I don't know if the laws like that for electrical with the county because I have to look. But I know in Homer Glen, you're going back to when Jim Daly was the mayor. That was a long time ago. Somebody called the building department and said that the guy next door to him put in a ceiling fan without a permit. Right? Now,
Okay.
so I'm like, what? So I called up Daly. He goes, yeah, you have to have a permit in Homer Glen to replace the ceiling fan. Right? So I'm like, okay. And so then I go over to the house where the guy, he's called me and complaining, you know, why did this happen? And I says, well, in Homer Glen, you're supposed to. He says, I said, how did they know you did it? Did you
Say
what happened?
anything? Yeah.
He says, well, I put it in the garbage, the old one that was no good. The neighbor saw it in the garbage and called on him. So a lot of these codes
Are
stupid,
Yeah.
but
agreed.
your neighbor don't like you because whatever reason, and they see something and
Yeah,
they
they'll-
call you and they
yeah,
react
Yeah,
out.
they find a way to screw
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, and so it's.
I don't even want to. I got a perfect example, but I'm not going to say.
But you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah, I know
so
exactly what you're talking
my
about.
next goal, if I'm on the board again, will be to try to get these codes off the books like I did with the exterior.
I mean,
So-
that's a good plan.
And people it's burdensome on people
100%.
because, you know, let's face it. In other words, on your hose, if you have a shutoff valve on your hose outside and you want to replace it,
You gotta get a permit,
You got to
yeah.
get a permit. And, okay, so you have a gas
I was
shutoff.
going to say,
Well,
perfect example. If I go to the bathroom and take a, you know what? We got to get a permit too?
Well, what about on your gas pipes for your stove? You got a shutoff valve, right?
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to you want to replace it for a reason. Maybe it's got a small leak
Yeah.
and it smells or whatever. Yeah, I don't know why you did, but so you want to replace it. You got to get a permit. You know, anything that's got a moving part, you got to
Yeah.
So
get
you're
a
so
permit.
you are for smaller government and less government interference, correct?
Yeah.
That's your main thing. Yeah,
My main,
I agree with you on that.
And I also don't like anything that's going to take away good farmland. That's why you say windmills, solar
Yeah.
farms. We're going to run out of land, and where's the food going to come from?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And at what cost?
China.
It's already outrageous. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe you know what? I have a feeling that soon there's going to be a point in time that if you have the room and you're able to, people are going to start growing their own stuff,
They should.
and they will.
Yep.
Eventually, they will.
I keep trying.
I am doing it every year at this point because even though some of it goes to waste, well, at least my animals eat well. But but you know, I
I'm
use
at
what
the
I can. I sell what I can, or I give it away. Even sometimes it depends on what it is. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I think that's gonna make a comeback, like small gardens, home gardens,
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like because realistically, some of the stuff you can just grow yourself, and just it tastes better.
Yeah.
It tastes
Tastes
better. It's
better,
probably
it's more-
healthier.
It's more natural.
And
Yeah.
you don't know what they're putting in it.
Well,
Yeah.
that's the other thing. Yeah, that's
You know,
the
I started
thing.
making my own bread. because I don't like what it says on the wrapper anymore.
So, it's so
agreed.
popular now. Everybody making their own bread.
So
is-
I'm making my own bread. It took me a while to figure it out, but I figured it out.
Big fan of sourdough, so if you make some, let me know.
I can't make that one. I can't make that. You know, I tried the yeast.
Make it grow?
And it don't. You know, it's like having a little kid. You got to put the right amount in there. You know, forget about
that's
it.
funny.
It was horrible.
Yeah, you're right. 100%. That's
So
true.
I
That's
just
why-
buy the yeast.
Yeah, okay. There's plenty of people that make that. That's a big thing nowadays that people are baking breads in their
What
houses.
when you go on vacation, you take your starter with you? I mean,
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Well, I don't even know how to make bread.
well,
all
what
right? So,
happens? Does it
you know,
die because you didn't feed it?
Yeah.
I gotta start growing a wheat farm back here. I think. So, listen, Steve, I appreciate you coming on. It was a good conversation, and people maybe got to know you a little bit better, what you're about, and what your plans are, and what you've been already doing. I mean, there was a lot of info in this podcast that we just did. So, I learned a lot of things already.
Yeah.
And you know, I know I'm on the ballot. I'm running on I'm running.
I was running on hopes and dreams.
I was running on hopes and dreams. Let's just say I got lucky and I got out of the first round or out of the primary, then I would actually run like a real campaign. But you know, I a lot of time was taken right now for me for different other things that I had going on. So that's why I wasn't really pushing it too hard. I wanted to do it. There were certain things that I want to run on, but maybe another time. Maybe another time.
Before we hang up, can I give my phone number out?
Yeah,
go
absolutely.
ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because you know, if you got a problem with the county, you call me up. I don't care where you live. Just call me up, and I'll do my best to help you. 815-557-7196.
We'll put that in the description.
And my email
Yeah.
is S, and then like my first name, and then my last name, Balich, Balich, at Comcast.net. So you can email me or call me, and I'll come out and I'll help you. You know, I'll talk to you on the phone. I got a whole plan on how to help people now. I got it down because I've been helping people for so long.
That's
so
good.
It'll definitely be in the video descriptions below.
Yeah.
Whatever.
We're gonna try to get this out as soon as possible. So
Yeah, it'll be out today. So, yeah, absolutely. And then obviously make sure to go vote. That's the only
yeah.
the other
Go
thing
vote.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
Go
We've
vote.
been pounding this in for a year now.
Go
We've-
vote.
Channels
Whoever-
existed for a year, and
Yeah.
we've been talking about it for a year.
literally. Go vote for whoever. Just go vote.
Yeah, yeah.
Just go vote. I mean, realistically, all sides go vote. Just go
Yeah.
vote. It's your
Yeah.
duty as a citizen to go vote.
Primaries are March 17th.
And St.
Yeah.
Patrick's Day.
Yeah, St. Patrick's Day. So make sure to go vote. It takes 30 minutes of your time. You
If
can,
that.
you can do it. You
If
can do
that.
it.
That's right.
And yeah, and then also make sure to like, comment, subscribe
That's right.
for more information. Keep up to date. You know, we bring people like Steve on all the time, and then we bring your everyday person on as well. So
Look, we're in election season right now, so we got to bring out some of the
Yeah.
the politicians, I guess you could say, right? But after the election season's over, then we're just gonna bring on regular people.
Yeah.
Even if you're a politician, you're just
Well,
a regular person. At
well,
that
I'm a
point.
regular person.
yeah. Well, tomorrow's episode is a great example of that. We have my buddy David,
Yeah.
who's his family runs a tailor shop. So you know,
Exactly.
But yeah, Steve, thank you for coming on.
Well, God bless you guys.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
for having me.
No problem. Have a good one, everybody. Peace out
And go vote.
and go vote. That's right.